Hey guys, how's it going? This is Chappie with Intense Cycles, and for today's edition of Tech Tutorials, we're gonna kind of go through the steps to one, check to make sure your cable loop under the bottom bracket is correct, and two, make sure it stays maintained and it stays the way it is so we don't have any cable rub issues down the line. The items you will need to do the cable retention are: one, we have a set of flush cuts, make a nice clean cut, tape measure or ruler, whatever you have available to you, zip tie, and the silver spacer. So first thing we're gonna do is go ahead and flip the bike around in the bike stand so you can get a little easier access to the derailleur and brake cable. Pretty straightforward, just put the crank up out of the way so you have most amount of access to your cables. So as you see here, we have a nice good loop underneath the bottom bracket for our rear brake cable and our rear derailleur cable. Minimum measurement here will be either 38 millimeters or 1.5 inches. In muddy or wet conditions, you could get some buildup of mud and debris on the cables on the bottom of the bottom bracket. So don't be afraid to go over 38. I wouldn't go over 45 where we're at here now. So this is definitely the maximum, and then 38 is the minimum. So we'll show you how to set this loop and keep it good for the long haul. So I've gone ahead and pulled the cables tight, which is, I've seen it a couple times. This is an improper way to set up. This is not what you want to see. As the rear triangle moves, the cables will tighten up on the bottom bracket and wear through. So this is the whole reason why we have this process in place, is to prevent this from happening. So to get the right setup, we're going to go ahead and pull our cables down. Just, give them about 1 inch, 1.5 inches to start with, and then we're going to take our tape measure or ruler, whatever you have available to you. I'm going to go ahead and set that usually between the cables is a pretty good start. And we're just going to pull enough cable out of the frame until we get about 38 millimeters of loop. Just having it set at 38 just makes sure we're not going to have any issues with the cable coming in contact with the bottom bracket. So now we're going to set it on top of the cables, placing the silver spacer between the brake and derailleur, as seen there. Next, we're going to take the zip tie from the far side on the drive side, wrap it around the derailleur cable, and then loop it through the silver spacer like so. Next steps, we're going to take the end of the zip tie that is split between the rear brake cable here. We're going to loop it through and engage the zip tie. We're going to go ahead, and once it's looped like this, we're going to slide the silver spacer up to the frame, and then we're going to lock the silver spacer by tightening down the zip tie. So now that we have the zip tie locked down on the derailleur and the rear brake cable, we're going to take our flush cuts and we're going to give it a little clip. Make sure it's nice and clean, no sharp edges. To double check our work, we're going to go ahead and pull on the cables, make sure they don't move, and there you have it. That's all it takes to make sure our cable loop stays where it should be. We should be good to go. If you have any questions or concerns, or like to get this cable kit, get a hold of us at techcenter@intensecycles.com, or any one of our contact links on our website. We'd be more than happy to get you set up, make sure you're happy, and make sure your bike's working as best as it can be.